Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is Dear Profiler Pat, where you send me your questions, ask me, what should I do? I give you my advice, and I always hope that it helps you out. And if you're someone who didn't send the question, I always hope that because I expand on it a little bit, that what I say helps you out in your life as well. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe, and look at the playlist and see if there's some area of the playlist that particularly pertains to you, because we all are at different points in our lives, and we can use advice or ideas at different points. We're never at the point where we don't need some advice. And so here's this one. I have received this question in a number of ways, and I'm just going to center it on this. Dear Profiler Pat, how do I deal with my loved one who has Alzheimer's? And a lot of people who watch my show tend to be closer to my age than 30s or 40s. They tend to be in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have a parent, or maybe you have a grandparent who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And you're wondering, how do I deal with them? How do I communicate with them? How do I interact with them? And I want to say this. I might do another video on how to care for a person with Alzheimer's, but here I want to talk about communication, because I see a disaster so often with communication, and I understand where the person is coming from, but I would just want to let you know, don't do that. Please, please, please don't do that. Okay, I'm going to talk about 3 different issues with a person with Alzheimer's. 1, don't treat them like they're children. That is incredibly important. All right. Secondly, don't treat them as if they don't know what they're talking about. Okay? Don't say you're wrong. Don't say you're wrong. 3, don't say, don't you remember? Now, if they had Alzheimer's, do you think they remember? Okay, let me start with number 3. Why would you say, don't you remember, when you know they have a disease that prevents them from remembering? It's nonsensical. I mean, don't say that. I mean, most of us have trouble remembering crap before we have Alzheimer's. Don't we? Don't you remember when we're... Not really. Don't you remember that name of that? Not really. It's already annoying when you don't have Alzheimer's. But there you are, you're at a point in life where you have Alzheimer's, and you freaking don't remember a whole lot of crap. And you wish you did. I mean, if you were that person with Alzheimer's, if I ever become that person with Alzheimer's, I wish I remembered. I already have a crappy memory. My whole entire family has a garbage memory. We do. We always say, maybe this is what happened. And then we just make up stories because we all have lousy memories and we don't even have Alzheimer's yet. My mother, personal to me, this is my mother. She lived into her 90s, and she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I think around about 90. So a couple of years of not serious Alzheimer's, no question about it. And before I go further, I just want to say these 3 things. God bless my 2 sisters. They had every one of these 3 things correct. And it's tough. I mean, it's tough to have the 3 things correct, but they did. So my sisters were amazing. They never got it wrong. The first thing that I just said, do you remember? Our entire family remembers nothing. It's a joke in our family. It's like, you don't remember anything because you're from our line. But we never asked my mother, do you remember? Because we're like, if we remembered. So we didn't say that. Like, oh, don't you remember last week we gave you this? And she'd be like, if we had said that. No. And this, I've seen people do this. I have a dear friend, and she has a woman that she's been friends with for like 40 years. And she's now been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and is in assisted living. But my friend has trouble understanding that she doesn't remember. And she goes over there and she says, don't you remember I programmed your phone? Don't you remember I set up your medicines? Don't you remember? And I keep telling my friend, no, she's got Alzheimer's. She doesn't remember. Stop asking her if she remembers, because she doesn't remember. Stop asking that stupid question. Please just stop asking it. And my friend is a wonderful human being. She's the kindest person in the world, but she gets frustrated with her friend who has Alzheimer's because she doesn't remember. But your loved one with Alzheimer's, that's the whole point. They're not going to remember a damn thing. And if they do remember, you're going to be shocked and think, oh, that's cool. But she's not going to remember, especially recent stuff. I worked as a sign language interpreter in hospitals. And one day I went in and went to the emergency room. And I arrived, it was 1:00 in the morning. And so a lovely woman there, she was probably, I don't know, I'm going to say in her 60s, very attractive woman, healthy looking and all this, but she had some little issues. So she was there in the emergency room. And I walked in and I said, hi, I'm your interpreter. She said, oh, wonderful. Okay, what's up? She said, what's your name? And what's your name? And I'm like, oh, it's Pat Brown. And then I said, your name is, and then she explained, gave her name. And I said, we two started chatting, two women having a lovely time. And I said, are you retired? Are you working? Which one? She said, oh, I'm retired. And I was like, okay. Before, what did you do? And she said, oh, I was a math teacher over at Gallaudet University. I'm like, oh, wow. That's really, really cool. And we chat. This went on for like half an hour. And I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and I came back and I went into the room and I said, hi. And she goes, oh, who are you? What's your name? And I'm like, oh, interesting. I'm like, oh, my name is Pat Brown. She says, oh, that's really cool. My name is, and she says, before I was a Gallaudet professor and I taught math. And then we started the conversation again. And I think I stayed there for hour after hour, maybe 24 hours. I don't even know. And I was like, when I needed to go to the bathroom, like, I was afraid to go to the bathroom because I knew when I came back, she would remember nothing. And we'd start over again. And that was true. She was a wonderful woman, but she remembered nothing. 5 minutes later, gone. How do you deal with that? Understand. And do not remember anything. So when you come back and talk with your loved one, don't ask, do you remember? No, they don't remember. They don't. Don't even ask the question. It's a horrible question to ask. It's just cruel. Don't ask that question. Just let it go. You walk back. If they don't remember the medicines, if they don't remember their name, if they don't remember who the hell you are, if they don't remember the vacation you took, if they don't remember whatever the hell they don't remember, don't ask, do you remember? Because you should understand they're not going to remember. So don't ask that question. So I just get rid of that. Don't ever ask the question, do you remember? Okay, what else shouldn't you do? All right. Dealing with Alzheimer's is a bit of a minefield. Every time you walk in, you wonder what the hell's going to go wrong this time. Don't ever say, oh, you're not correct. You're wrong. That didn't happen. Don't ever contradict what they believe is true. They see things in their little world that they're in. And they believe what they see. And even if it's not true, it's what they believe. Don't argue with them. Don't say, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not true. It serves no purpose because they believe it's true. In their own, I don't know what happens in the mind in Alzheimer's. None of us do. But if it happens in the mind, they have a whole different reality than is reality. So they're going to open up the drawer and they think something is missing. They go, oh my God, the nurse stole it. Well, the nurse could have stolen it. Hey, they might be right. But anyway, they look in there and you're like, and the whole thing is, you took their jewelry and put it in a safe deposit box. But they don't remember that because they don't remember. So you're like, oh, so you argue with them. You're like, oh, no, nurse didn't steal that. I put it in the safe deposit box. You think that's a smart thing to do because you're telling them reality. And they become very angry. Then they think you're in cahoots with the nurse. Don't go there. Don't do that. Go. What you should do is go, oh my God, really? Oh my God, is that missing? Let me go check it out. I guarantee you 5 minutes later, they won't remember what the hell they said. So don't argue with them. One time I was with my mom and my son was driving and my father was in the other seat and my mom and I were in the back. And this is when they were unable to drive. So we'd go over and help them take care of themselves and, take them to appointments and take them to whatever. So we're driving along and my mother looks out and it just started raining. And the lights on other automobiles were on. And she says, oh, look, it's a funeral procession. And I'm thinking, it's just like they turn on their lights because it's raining, But if I said, no, Ma, it's not a funeral procession, it's because it's raining, all I would do is attack her. What purpose does it serve except to make her feel like she's a fool? I went, oh my goodness, a funeral procession. I let it go. And oftentimes she would say things I knew were absolutely not true. But what the hell? How would it make a difference if she wants to believe something that isn't so? Just go with it and then let it go. It doesn't matter. And she's sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of something else that she might have said that she believed was true, but wasn't. So what? In 10 minutes, she won't remember she said that. So what's the point of arguing with her when she won't remember anyway? It's just, even if she won't remember anyway and you don't have to feel that guilty, still it's just disrespectful, which makes me come to the most important thing. Don't treat your loved one like a child. So many times when people get older, people treat older people like children. Here you are, you've raised your own children. You've been to school, you've been to college, you've raised your children, you have a job, you've done all these things in life, even helped raise your grandkids. And all of a sudden, everybody treats you like you're an idiot. And in the United States, it's very common. The elders aren't terribly respected. And anytime they have a little faux pas, it isn't even necessarily a faux pas, but younger people determine it is. In other words, if you you can't find your keys, oh my God, you have Alzheimer's. They lose their keys. It's just, oh, well, I was busy. So freaking annoying. But when you do actually have Alzheimer's, then they think they have the right to be disrespectful, to treat you like a child. And here my mother was with Alzheimer's. And not once did my two sisters treat her like a child. And never did my children treat her like a child. And I didn't treat her like a child. We treated her like she was the mother and grandmother we should respect. Because she lived 90 years as a perfectly fine adult. And now she had a disease in her brain. And there's no reason why we should then mock her, treat her like she's silly, call her honey, sweetie. We shouldn't do that because it's rude and it's cruel. So I have to totally appreciate my family for this, because there wasn't one person in our family who did this. And if you're out there and you're dealing with a person with Alzheimer's, help all your family understand this. Just treat the person like an adult. Still respect them. Maybe they're saying things that aren't exactly reality. Maybe they're confused. It doesn't matter, because what they did for you, raising you and living through the years that they've lived through, show them some respect. Be respectful. Don't treat them like children. Don't say, silly, man. That's not true. All that kind of nonsense crap. It's so mean. It's so mean. And, I'm sitting here 69 years old, and I'm like, God help me. If I get Alzheimer's or some other issues, I don't want to be treated like that. I don't even care if you have to fake it. Don't, I want to be treated well. I want to be respected. If I don't know what the hell is going on, I still want to be respected. Don't you want to be respected? I want to have a pleasant day. I don't want people telling me I'm wrong, I'm stupid, I don't understand, don't you remember, and all this kind of crap. I don't want that. And your parent or your grandparents or whoever the hell you're dealing with who's got Alzheimer's, they don't want that either. It's got to be the worst freaking disease ever. I don't know. There's physical diseases, cancer, ALS, and all kinds of horrible things that can happen to your body. But at least your mind is still with you. But to not have your mind with you, to have people treat you like you're a child because your mind is damaged at that point. It's cruel. Don't do that. Don't do that to somebody you love. Just go to them and talk to them like you still respect them, you still love them, you understand where they're coming from. You understand that they don't understand certain things, but it doesn't freaking matter. Just because they don't know what time it is, just because they don't understand, don't remember what happened yesterday. So what? They're still exactly who they are. And be with them to the end of their lives, respecting them and treating them as people you care about and human beings, and not demote them to some little silly child because, well, their minds are gone, so they're just silly children now. You never treated your own damn child that way. You never treated your toddler that way. You were like, oh my God, you're walking now. Oh my God, you can say it. You were so happy about your freaking little child, but now your parent is suffering from some kind of, invasive brain damage, and you don't have the decency to say, hi, good morning, Ma. Good morning, Dad. We're here for you. Can we help you in any way? Oh my goodness. So, and just be there in a way that still respects them. I can't say that enough. Everything else just pales in comparison. Maybe it's because I'm getting older and I sure as shit still want to be treated like a child in the next 10 or 20 years. I'm like, please don't do that to me. Please. So if I don't want that done to me, you don't want that done to you. For God's sakes, don't do that to the people you love. All right, this is my thoughts on how to communicate with people who have Alzheimer's, how to deal with people who have Alzheimer's. And I'm going to do a second video. I'm going to do another video on how to care for people with Alzheimer's, because that's a whole another issue. Because it's exhausting. The caring of a person with Alzheimer's is extremely exhausting. And so I respect everybody who does put the effort in to care for their loved ones who have Alzheimer's. But I also respect people who choose some kind of assisted living or permanent care for a person who has Alzheimer's, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And but if you're at this point where you can at least communicate with your loved one, respect them. Don't ask, don't say, don't you remember? And don't argue with them. For God's sakes, just be there for them, respect them. And they won't remember it the next day, but at least you will. And you'll know that you treated them well. So, yeah, do that. And you're going to be happy that you did. Thanks for being here.